Welcome to Self-Care Tips. I am Irene Joroge, and today we're going to look at a treatment using hot stone, or what is known as hot stone massage. It is a holistic treatment that is helpful for the back and muscles, and it helps to relieve aches and pains. A wonderful treatment when you're looking at natural treatments. Thank you. With me today is Eunice Minor, the manager of Avani Clinic and an expert in body treatments, and she's going to take us through the whole procedure of the hot stone massage. Welcome, Eunice.
Thank you.
The hot stones are so called because they are volcanic stones that are warmed. The warmth is retained in the degrees. They are not supposed to be extremely hot, and neither are they supposed to be cool. The maintenance of the right temperature occurs within the stones due to the volcanic matter, after which they're going to be placed on the client and used during the massage treatment. These smooth black stones have a wonderful texture and a good feel on the skin. This treatment can be combined with aromatherapy for a more in-depth and holistic treatment, or it can be used on its own. The heat from the stones is being transferred into the body. It's reducing pressure in the muscles and also reduces the buildup of lactic acid. The warmth spreads slowly through the skin and into the muscles. A hot stone treatment is very ideal if you're tired, if you're completely worn out, and if you've been exercising and have serious muscle aches. This is a most natural way to relieve those pains without having to resort to medicines and painkillers. As each area is completed, the stone is placed on the spinal column. Hot stone massage with Eunice Minor at the Avani Clinic, a most soothing treatment. Remember, if the condition persists or in case you feel that you need to seek medical advice, always do so. This has been Self-Care Tips. I am Irene Joroge.
Wewe ukiwaza hapa, wao tayari washajua. Wajua tunaweza toka hapa tukaenda kule tukaingia kwenye mtego.
Niko mbona sisi kumtafuta babangu.
Maya, kama babako ungekuwa naja naye, ungekuwa amekupigia simu kitambo.
Hatutaki wageni. Na kama nikumuona babako, kaa huko huko.
Na wazimu anaweza kukupoteza. Anaweza kufanya kitu kibaya mpaka ushangae wewe.
Maanisha nini?
Mimi sitaki maneno na wewe. Sina muda na wewe. Sitaki mazungumzo. Aliyekutuma amekudanganya.
This is KBC Channel 1.
Prime edition. We have our eyes on the news this 25th day of October 2021. Good evening. My name is Mboya. I will be driving the news agenda tonight. Plus, also, I will be in charge of the business news docket.
And I, Carren Kibet, will be your in-sports captain for the day, where the world marathon record holder Eliud Kipchoge was awarded as the best male athlete of the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. This and more stories will be coming to you shortly, but first things first. Tom?
And Anne Wangechi is in charge of our sign language docket. But let's take a look at our prime stories for tonight.
I have been requested, and I'm going to put this forward, to set up a specialized court to deal with cases of hate speech.
Focusing on hate speech, judiciary establishes special courts to deal with hate mongers. On the early campaign track, Raila in Nyanza home turf while DP Ruto tours Makueni. Plus, a deserved recognition. World marathon record holder Eliud Kipchoge awarded Best Male Athlete of Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1, hashtag Prime Edition, at Mboya24. Get on your phone, let's talk to us, and we'll be reading out some of those feedback that we get from you. But let's start this live broadcast with our top story. The judiciary will establish special courts to expedite adjudication of cases of hate speech. Chief Justice Martha Koome says their facilities will be set up right here in Nairobi, in Mombasa, in Kisumu, in Nakuru, as well as Eldoret, among other towns. At the same time, the Chief Justice directed that pending cases which have an impact on free and fair elections be resolved within 90 days. Kamche Meza opens our coverage with that report tonight.
A multi-agency forum chaired by Chief Justice Martha Koome to evaluate the level of preparedness by the different institutions charged with overseeing fair elections as the general elections draws near. It was here that the Judiciary and Ministry of Interior called out politicians fueling hate speech during political rallies, warning political leaders that they will be held personally liable for violence instigated by their supporters.
We are concerned about issues of hate speech, and I have been requested, and I'm going to put this forward, to set up a specialized court to deal with cases of hate speech so that they are handled expeditiously.
That we need to emphasize to our leaders that they will take personal responsibility for some of the actions that they get their supporters to be involved in, including we will petition the IBC to disqualify some of these people from contesting electoral offices.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i noted that a total of 5,500 police officers and 300 specially trained cadets will be deployed in assisting the IEBC execute its mandate.
All related election matters that are pending in court, because we have been informed as a judiciary, there are several cases that are still pending in the judiciary. I do not know why, but the impact on the conduct of free and fair elections. And we will ask that our judges or magistrates, under whose dockets those cases fall, will be determined as soon as possible, and in any event within 90 days.
This as the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission decries very low turnout of new voters in the ongoing mass voter registration exercise slated to end on November 2nd, 2021.
So we have only done 760,000 plus out of an expected almost 4.5 million. It's a very low turnout.
With only about 8 days to go, Chairperson Wafula Chebukati is calling on Kenyans to take advantage of the remaining few days. Kamchemenza for Prime Edition.
The Kenyans registered so far has risen to 800,462 against a targeted figure of 4.5 million. Well, moving from that story that has put politicians on notice, let's now shift into politics. And ODM leader Raila Amolo Odinga has now moved to whip locals in Nyanza region to register as voters. Raila, accompanied by ODM deputy party leader, Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, and a host of ODM legislators pitched camp in Kisumu County as they sought to convince residents to register as voters, saying that elections are won by vote. Achola Simon is on that political beat.
After traversing various parts of the country selling his Azimio la Umoja campaign, ODM leader Raila Odinga on Monday pitched camp in his political backyard to rally his supporters without voters card to do so before the exercise closes in the next 8 days. Raila, speaking the Luo dialect, spelled out his vision for the region, using recent development track record in the region as a springboard to woo the locals.
Naona tangu handshake mambo mengi imekuja hapa Western Kenya. Unaona vile Kisumu imeanza kung'ara. Unaona ile port kama inaendelea. Hiyo port itasaidia watu wote wa Kenya, wa Western Kenya. Kufika kule Busia, kufika kule Bungoma, kufika kule Trans Nzoia, mpaka kule Kakamega. Watafaitika kutoka kwa hiyo port.
The leader spent the better part of the morning in Kisumu County, holding rallies in Ahero, Rabor, Nyamasaria, Kondele, before winding up at the Kisumu main bus terminus.
Na mimi nataka nyinyi msifanye fujo. Ukianza kufanya fujo mapema, watu wataogopa kuja kupiga kura. Nasikia hivyo. Muongwana, muongee na watu vizuri. Hata kama upendi mtu, msikize tu. Akienda unasema ule bure. Najua kura yangu ya baba. Ndio. Usizuie mtu yoyote ambaye anakuja kutafuta kura hapa.
Kisumu County has an approximated 175,847 potential voters, out of which only 13,539 have been registered so far.
Jua ya kwamba hii njia imekuwa ndefu. Imekuwa na mabonde na milima. Imekuwa ndefu zaidi, tuko karibu. Na kuingia State House ni nyinyi. Mimi nataka watu wa Ahero usige kura kwa wingi, kwa sababu wakati ni sahihi.
Achola Simon, Prime Edition, Kisumu County.
Let's move from lakeside city of Kisumu to Makueni, where Deputy President William Samoei Ruto has asked Kenyans not to be duped by unrealistic campaign promises by politicians who were short of ideas. Ruto said certain leaders are making populist pledges that will not address the country's problems. Here is that report.
Wangapi wanasema tubadilishe uchumi kwanza, uchumi.
Ruto was in Makueni County, where he met grassroots leaders from Kibwezi East and Kibwezi West. Addressing several public rallies in the region, the deputy president said that the country needed a well-thought-out plan, like the bottom-up economic model that will offer solid solutions to the country's challenges.
Mambo ya kubadilisha katiba na kuongeza vyeo na mamlaka itangoja. Ngojeni kwanza tubadilishe uchumi. Kwa sababu tukibadilisha uchumi ndio tutapata nafasi ya kusaidia hawa vijana wetu. Kuna vijana milioni 4 Kenya. Wako na certificate, wako na diploma, wako na degree, lakini hakuna kazi.
The DP challenged his competitors to come up with realistic proposals on how to curb youth unemployment instead of hoodwinking them with handouts. He said youth unemployment was a serious issue that needed practical and sustainable solutions, and that Hustler movement will deliberately implement programs that will create jobs for the young.
Tutaweka pesa bilioni 100 mwaka ujao ili tuweze kuwa na miradi na mipango ambayo itapatia hawa watoto hawa nafasi ya ajira, ndio wajisimamie, walipe ushuru na tuende mbele kama Wakenya pamoja.
Other leaders accompanying him supporting the economic model, claiming it will offer solid solutions to the country's challenges.
Hatutafuti nani kabila yangu, nani ndugu yangu, tunatafuta kiongozi ambaye atadeal na issues of ordinary Kenyans.
We want politics of civility, politics ya nidhamu, politics of policies, politics of taking Kenya forward.
Na sisi tunasema hatukai pale kwa sababu ya madaraka, tunakaa kwa sababu ya umoja wa Wakenya na kuinua maisha ya watu wa Kenya walioko chini ili wapande juu waweze kujiamulia mambo yao kama jamii.
Tumejipanga.
Let's stay with politics. The National Eagle Alliance that brings together 5 political parties has been unveiled. The alliance comprises Agano Party, Daraja Party, Empowerment and Liberation Party, Justice and Freedom Party, and the Muungano Party. The new formation says it will give Kenyans a solution-based government, though they are yet to unveil their presidential candidate. Ruth Mboya puts that story in perspective for us.
Speaking during the signing in of a memorandum of understanding, the Tena leaders said even though the country has made significant progress, the nation still grapples with issues it was dealing with at independence, like poverty, ignorance and diseases due to corruption.
We are coming together because we are of the same mind and the same thoughts. We have shared the sufferings with all Kenyans. We have been in the streets and we have been in the farms and experienced the tremendous weight of sufferings that every Kenyan goes through.
With this alliance, we'll make sure that the youth, they will get all the opportunities. I'm saying this because I know it is possible.
The good men have been doing nothing. And this is a serious challenge that has rendered citizens to lose hope on whether leadership can be trusted or leadership can be honest.
Kwa sababu tukiwa na maadili, uchumi utakuwa sawa, wizi utaisha, madeni yatakopwa kuweza kumbenefit mwananchi.
And a group of leaders claiming to be allied to Deputy President in Mombasa are crying shortchanged. The group claims they have not received money donated by the DP to cushion their businesses, urging him to intervene.
Pesa zilipopokewa hasikufikia wale wa mama wenye biashara ndogo ndogo.
Wewe sikia kilio cha wafanyabiashara, na kama utaenda na hao matapeli, ujue ya kwamba sisi kama wazee wa hii institute, wewe utakosa kura zetu.
Pesa ambayo ililetwa, wamama wanalia. Wamama wakupata hizo pesa vile inatakikana. Na anasema pesa inaenda kwa wamama wa chini, watu wa chini. Mama Mboga. So I don't think 100 Mama Mboga atafanya naye nini? 50 shillings Mama Mboga atafanya naye nini? Wengine nasikia walipata 30.
Ruth Mboya for Prime Edition.
Well, that's the way it was. Now, moving on, the International Commission of Jurists is accusing the state of using the National Intelligence Service, NIS, to undermine the independence of the judiciary. ICJ claims to have received numerous complaints that staff as well as personnel closely associated with NIS are intimidating judicial staff during adjudication of or after the delivery of verdicts. Ben Troy Njue is with that report.
The International Commission of Jurists is now demanding that the National Intelligence Service responds to allegations of intimidation and recommend prosecution of those found culpable.
To intimidate by either stealthily following, tapping their telephones, or recording through other means the movements of judicial officers and judges. It is meant to threaten, intimidate, and harass so that the independence of the judiciary is compromised.
In a letter sent to the Director General of the National Intelligence Service and copied to the Chief Justice, ICJ Kenya Chapter Chairman Kevin Mogeni said judicial independence is critical in maintaining the integrity of the judiciary, and judges should feel free to deliver decisions without external pressures.
Judges at all times must be free to fairly evaluate the matters before them based on the evidence presented to them and the relevant law secure from external pressures. The independence of the judiciary in particular, its decisional independence, is provided for in most jurisdictions and entrenched in our constitutional and normative frameworks.
Citing President Uhuru Kenyatta's decision to decline appointing judges recommended by the Judicial Service Commission and the High Court and Court of Appeal decision to stop the Building Bridges Initiative constitutional amendment process,
we wish to remind the executive that the Constitution guarantees the independence of the judiciary, and specifically it insulates the institution from control, directions of any person or authority.
The Commission said any queries or concerns regarding judges and magistrates should be channeled through the Judicial Service Commission.
We wish to invite the National Intelligence Service to monitor these allegations, respond to the allegations that were made, and recommend, if found, that there are people within that service, or anybody for that matter, recommend to the Director of Criminal Investigations, the Inspector General of Police, undertake proper investigations and recommend proper prosecution to the Director of Public Prosecution of all these people.
ICJ says they will continue to champion for the independence of the judiciary as enshrined in law. For Prime Edition, I'm Ben Troinjue.
Let's now take a look at the COVID situation. Kenya has recorded 16 new cases of COVID-19 from a sample size of 1,318 tested over the last 24 hours, one of the lowest figures reported in recent weeks. According to Ministry of Health, the country's positivity rate is at 1.2%. From the latest cases, the youngest is 20 years old and the oldest 78 years. Total confirmed positive cases are now 252,688, and cumulative tests so far conducted at 2,675,023. The death toll from COVID-19 has risen to 5,260 after 3 deaths were reported, all from late facility audit records in the month of September and October. Globally, data from Johns Hopkins University show over 243.8 million people have been infected with the virus, and more than 4.95 million have died so far. Now, the Supreme Court has stopped the swearing-in of Anne Kananu Mwenda as Nairobi governor, pending hearing and determination of the appeal filed by former Nairobi Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko. Sonko has moved to the Apex Court, seeking to overturn the Court of Appeal decision that cleared the way for Kananu to be sworn in. Nisi Imano is on that story.
Days after the Court of Appeal threw out a petition seeking to ban Nairobi Deputy Governor from assuming the office of Governor for Nairobi County, embattled former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko can now breathe a sigh of relief after the Supreme Court in an injunction stopped the swearing in. Supreme Court Judge Mohammed Ibrahim stopped the swearing in and certified the matter as urgent. Sonko claims in a petition that is being deprived of his seat unconstitutionally. The Supreme Court is set to hear the matter and issue a determination in 2 weeks. Meanwhile, Lamu Senator Anwar Loitiptip has been released on a cash bail of 500,000 shillings or a bond of 1 million shillings by a Nanyuki law court. The senator had been arrested for allegedly shooting a 32-year-old woman in Nanyuki town. Nanyuki resident magistrate Vincent Masivo noted that there was no compelling reasons to detain the accused for a further 5 days, as requested by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. In Busia County, 8 suspects who allegedly attacked and stoned the motorcade of Deputy President William Ruto over the weekend at Korinda Junction in Busia have been arraigned before the Busia law courts. The 8 denied the charges but were denied bond arrested and sent to remand at Korinda GK prison. The matter is set to be mentioned on the 5th of November this year. Meanwhile, residents in Kiambu County have been urged to embrace alternative dispute resolution mechanisms to reduce the backlog of cases in the region. The Law Society of Kenya Kiambu chapter chairperson Beth Mwangi, in an event to mark the Legal Awareness Week, also urged lawyers to be open to offering pro bono services to the public. For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Sumungai.
Well, that story brought to us by Gladys Mungai and not Nisi Emmanuel, as we had indicated, brings us to our first break. This is KBC Prime Edition. We're going to take a short break. I'll be back. Stay with us.
I believe that one day Kenya will be governed by a democratic government, representative and elected by the people. And by the people, I include anybody who decides to make Kenya his home.
In how many years?
Who accepts to be treated as an equal citizen with everybody else.
To get Jeremiah 29:11 as your skiza tune, dial *811 *397 hash.
Jeremiah 29 verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future.
To get Jeremiah 29:11 as your skiza tune, dial *811 *397 hash. *811 *397 hash.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
Welcome back. Our social media channels at KBC Channel 1, hashtag Prime Edition, and my Twitter handle at Mboya24. On to a rather disturbing report here. Imelda Mbata, a mother of one from Soweto, here in Nairobi's Kayole area, is in distress. Our 5-year-old daughter, Chelsea Akinyi, has been missing for 2.5 weeks. The matter was reported to Soweto police station, but so far no news of her whereabouts are forthcoming.
Imelda Mbata is in pain. The pain of not knowing the whereabouts of our 5-year-old daughter.
Tulikuwa naye hapo kwa gate, nikaingia tu ndani kidogo kuchukua sweta, juu ilikuwa jioni, mvua ilikuwa inanyesha. Nikamwambia niongoje niende nichukue sweta kwa nyumba. Sasa kuingia kutoka nje kuchukua sweta, nikapata kama mtoto ameshachukuliwa.
Chelsea Akinyi, an only child, disappeared on 8th of this month. Mbata reported 3 of her neighbors to the police.
Kabisa, juu hata wenye tulikuwa na shuku hapo kwa ploti, tuliwapeleka police station na wakashikwa na kesho yake wakaachiliwa na cash bail. Sasa toka hiyo siku hapo hatujasikia mambo yoyote ya polisi. Sasa niko naomba tu kama mnaweza nisaidia, mwenye ameona mtoto wangu mahali.
Sasa tukikaa kidogo tunapitia police station, tunaulizia, hakuna mtu anatuelekeza. Mara mwenye ako na hiyo kesi hayuko, tunaomba tu mwenye ako nayo kesi ya yuko uchunguzi itafanywa.
She is now pleading with the police to speed up investigations and help her get her child back.
Sami sijapata usaidizi, sijui mali nitaelekea. Naomba tu nisaidiwe tu. Mwenye kuna mtoto wangu arudishe.
Chelsea, who speaks Kiswahili, was last seen in a pink sleeveless top and flowered skirt. Anyone with information about her whereabouts should report to the nearest police station.
And we hope that distressed mother is reunited with her daughter. Moving on, human rights lobby groups have condemned the recent lynching of 4 elderly women in Marani sublocation, that's in Kisii County. Land tussles have been cited as reasons behind such acts.
Two human rights groups, Seeds of Hope and Kenya Female Advisory Organization, held peaceful demonstrations in Kisii town condemning the recent lynching of 4 elderly women in Marani sub-county. Esther Okech, KFFA director, condemned the act and called for concerted efforts from all stakeholders to protect human rights.
We are saying that the right to life is sacrosanct in the Kenyan Constitution, and we must ensure that as a community we uphold that particular right, and that as a community we look at the issue of women's rights to land rights.
Elsewhere, women from Limanet area in Narok North sub-county have held peaceful demonstrations protesting rampant cases of sexual harassment in the area. This is after a 10-year-old girl died after she was defiled by a gang while tendering to livestock.
I have to defend children now, because kama huyu alienda, it is now the police. But how about the ones who are living? Lazima tukae hapa chini tuseme tukiwa serikali, what are we going to do to protect those ones?
In Mandera, county government has distributed 8,500 bags of animal feeds to pastoralists to sustain the animals in response to the large livestock mortality rate, which has resulted from the ongoing drought witnessed in parts of the country.
Hii chakula is not for sale, ni free of charge. Serikali ya Kenya through European Commission ndio imetupatia. Hii chakula iende kwa watu, isiende kwa maduka ya watu. Tataka iende kwa livestock.
Kaloleni Member of Parliament Paul Katana has urged Educational Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha to review the ban on public use of school buses, since it is a source of extra income for institutions. He was speaking at Moi Kanzonzo Secondary School in Kilifi County during the handing over of the school bus.
Lakini ile gari itataka mafuta, dereva anataka kulipwa. Kama watu wanaruhusiwa kukodisha ile gari ili tuweze kupata mafuta na tuweze kulipa dereva, kuna makosa?
In other news, the government is being urged to support local farmers in remote areas who embrace indigenous seeds farming. At an award ceremony in Nairobi, the chairman of Kenya Peasants League, Sidi Otieno, lauded local efforts that are being recognized internationally, saying they will motivate farmers to improve agricultural produce.
Tukue na extension services, na kuna makundi kama Kenya Peasants League ambao pia tuko na vijana wetu ma youths ambao wanatembea, wapatiwe pesa waweze kutembelewa kulima, wawapatie, wafundishe.
Finally, over 300 families from Mutange area in Kisauni constituency, Mombasa County, have been rendered homeless after their houses were demolished. The affected families could not salvage any of their property. Area Member of Parliament Ali Mbogo vowed to take the matter to court and ask the families not to vacate the area until the issue is resolved.
Walitambuliwa na serikali kuwa wao ni wakazi wa hapa, na mpaka barua zikatoka kuwa waje wa ground report ikaandikwa ili waje wapimiwe, waganyiwe ili kila mmoja apate hati miliki.
For Prime Edition, my name is Malina Msafiri.
Well, before we look at the day's business, in Sudan, a coup is underway where the military has dissolved civilian rule, arrested political leaders, and declared a state of emergency. The head of Sudan's Sovereign Council, General Abdel Fattah Burhan, has blamed political infighting for the state of affairs there.
celebrated gospel artist Owen Mwatia aka Daddy Owen officially launched his 6th studio album.
Nimewafavor Kenya kwa sababu nimefanya na wasanii watatu kutoka Kenya, lakini Tanzania nimefanya na Kings Music.
We know him from commentating movies, and guess what? He has landed himself a deal with Netflix. He is now officially advertising for Netflix in Kenya. Congratulations, DJ Afro.
Dear God, Lydia. Cheki maneno. Moja kawa invisible na moja kawa na superpower. Na ni pale na ambapo walikuwa na extraordinary mahinya.
Wendo mapenkila, nashinda tapanado. Umeja mapenzi, mashetani salute. Ukunitupa mami, bado huko nami.
Welcome back. I'm sitting in for Cynthia Nyamai, and this is the day's business. The National Taxpayers Association is faulting the government over the introduction of a 3-year voluntary tax disclosure program. The body argues that while the amnesty provides the opportunity for organizations to rectify any past gaps in tax declarations and payments, it also provides room for complacency among tax evaders who continue fueling illicit financial flows.
The coming into effect of the Tax Law Amendment Act of 2020 beginning of this year saw the introduction and implementation of a voluntary tax disclosure program which will run for a period of 3 years beginning 1st of January 2021. The amnesty that started in January is a 3-year program in which KRA has offered up to 100% interest and penalty waivers on taxes that have not been paid in 5 years. However, tax experts are faulting the legislation, saying it is creating a comfort zone for tax evaders.
Where it becomes dangerous, when it becomes institutionalized, where even the people that are evading that money count with it. They know that after every 2 years there will be a moratorium. After every 5 years there will be a moratorium. When institutionalized in that way, it becomes actually a disincentive, and even to a worse situation encourages even a more illicit financial flows.
So what we need now is some people to be hanged in Uhuru Park. Some of these people we know. Just quick, effective action. Take them, execute them, you will see what will happen.
They argue that although the cost of recovering the monies may be high, the government needs to look into other avenues to recover funds stashed in offshore accounts.
How do we help, and how is our role important in terms of the oversight, representation and legislation?
Our concern then has been that the government is not looking at other options where it can improve revenue. And we are also looking at the state of public services here in Kenya.
On the other hand, the taxman is betting on the voluntary tax disclosure program to bring more individuals and firms to the tax bracket in the war on evasion. The Kenya Revenue Authority raised 1.67 trillion shillings in the year ended June and is banking on the amnesty to collect 1.9 trillion shillings by June 2022. Regina Manyara reporting for Prime Edition.
Some pleasant news now for power consumers. Power costs are expected to reduce by 8 shillings per kilowatt hour from December of this year. According to Energy CS Monica Juma, review of the power purchase agreements between Kenya Power and independent power producers will save the utility firm up to 13.2 billion shillings in short term that will go towards subsidizing power bills.
The government has accelerated reforms at Kenya Power in a bid to make power cheaper in the country. Already, the government has ordered a forensic audit at the power farm in a bid to streamline operations at the farm.
You cannot say, you're going to generate power for Kenya, but you know what, it is a secret. Why should it be a secret? We should know. We know the global averages for production of power. So let it be competitive, because that is who we are. We are a competitive economy. It should be clear, it should be clean, the criteria should be known by all.
Juma says the reforms will also include a forensic audit of KPLC systems, which will save the power firm 10 billion shillings, with KPLC system losses turned at 23% against a global average of 10% annually.
Losses are happening across the spectrum again. It's not about informal sector, and in fact, as she indicated, the big consumers are probably bigger culprits.
An outage occurs and it takes for about 10 hours, 24 hours, revenue is being lost. I think what has happened is that those in leadership in the region have actually been instructed on what to do.
To return Kenya Power to profitability, the government plans to commercialize some operations of the agency.
Want it to start operating like the commercial entity it is. If it was Safaricom, their drive when a base station has gone down is to quickly bring it back up to speed. When you have a power coming down in some places, it takes weeks in the rural areas for connectivity to be resumed. So we are driving KPLC to transform itself, to start operating like the commercial entity it ought to be.
CS Juma further says renegotiation of PP contracts between Kenya Power and PPA tariffs are ongoing and are to be completed within the next 4 months. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Now, there is a call for more women to join leadership positions in the tourism sector. The Kenya Association of Women in Tourism says that women make up the majority in the tourism industry workforce but remain underrepresented in key management positions.
Women make up 60% of the workforce in Kenya's tourism industry. Despite the high number, most women are in junior positions. Veteran hospitality expert Jane Adams says the matter was aggravated by the ongoing pandemic, which has disenfranchised more women.
The objective of the training was to unlock limited beliefs on digital transformation, upskill on digital marketing, and assist members in adding new service offerings in order to drive up revenues. This was really key for us at that time because a lot of people were not digital. They felt that they had to be physically in offices.
The association is working to remedy the situation, having identified partners with whom they could work together to offer a boost to women in tourism.
During the pandemic, our membership grew tremendously compared to the previous years. So we are happy to know that women want to be identified with us and women want to belong because this association empowers and mentors.
Kenya Ports Authority Director Jacinta Nzioka said with the country further reopening after the lifting of the curfew, women will have wider market to explore the tourism sector.
Results released by the Tourism Research Institute through our minister that 35% of visitors into the country are traveling for business tourism. And business tourism means that they will be coming either for a conference, for a meeting, for an event, or even to have business corporate meetings. So that gives us some hope.
All right, let's move on. Stima Sacco has started the issuance of land title deeds to its investors. The first batch of 470 land title deeds for the Bahati project and another 384 projects in Juja, Vipingo, Kabarak and Nanyuki were issued. The society says that the title issuance has been supported by the government's strategic plan that's founded on 4 key pillars. Number 1, digitization, national titling, policy, legal and institutional reforms, and decentralization. These strategic directions are geared towards improving service delivery and also will therefore have a direct bearing to shareholders investing on land across the country.
The management of the board, the management and as well the board, we are arranging to re-beacon, to replace the beacons as well, and we are as well organized to have a site meeting where the second batch will be issued at site at the same time as we carry out the beacon showing and handover of the project to Bahati investors. The issuance of this title, we expected them to be ready by end of November 2021.
Further afield, South Africa's labour market is gearing up for mass exit of highly skilled people. The pandemic has led employees across the globe to weigh up their employment options and consider whether they actually enjoy their work, leading some to ditch local low-paying jobs for higher-paying remote options. Here are the details of this and other stories from across the continent.
South Africa faces a record high unemployment rate. This means that highly skilled South Africans have the opportunity to be more discriminant in the work they choose to take on post-pandemic. International companies are looking up to South Africa for skills, which gives contractors the opportunity to work on international projects and not leave the country. The pace that the employees have been operating during the pandemic is unsustainable, hence rethinking of changing their jobs. Meanwhile, Nigeria makes history as it becomes the first African country to digitize its currency. The e-Naira takeoff is causing unease in the banking sector, even as the concept note has admitted the project could unsettle banks as it comes with disintermediation risk. Experts warn that e-Naira is just one of the disruptive technologies banks will need to accept and adapt to avoid being overrun. The launch will put Nigeria on the global CBDC tracking map as the fifth country to launch a centralized national electronic money. Finally, fish exporters in Uganda are defending their call for Parliament to ratify a law banning the local consumption of Nile perch. While appearing before Parliament's Committee on Agriculture, the Uganda Fish Processors Exporters Association announced that the lawmakers' proposal, once approved, will save the species from depletion. The law will also guarantee that the exporters have enough Nile perch stock to feed into their businesses and ensure there is constant supply of the fish species to satisfy the tastes of foreign consumers.
And across the globe, the Australian government and Telstra are buying a Pacific telecom company in a joint venture. The move is being viewed as a political blow to China's influence in the region. The deal is a commercial opportunity to boost their presence in the region. Details of these and other stories from across the globe.
Digicel Pacific employs 1,700 people across Papua New Guinea, Fiji, Samoa, Vanuatu and Tahiti. The company's future has been the focus of speculation for months. The Australian government approached Telstra to provide technical advice in relation to Digicel Pacific, which is critical to telecommunications in the region. The government agreed to finance the bulk of the bid. Digicel is the primary player in the Pacific and Australia sees it as a strategic asset. Partnering on infrastructure development is a key part of the Pacific Step Up. Meanwhile, almost 2 billion euros will be invested by the UK government into building new homes on derelict or unused land in England. The funding will build 160,000 greener homes on brownfield land, equivalent to 2,000 football pitches. The government will also invest 9 million euros in creating 100 new urban pocket parks across the UK. This is part of efforts to meet the UK's net zero target by 2050. The government hopes the plans will regenerate local areas in England and support 50,000 new jobs while preserving green spaces. Finally, major phone networks have agreed to block almost all internet calls coming from abroad if they pretend to be from UK numbers. Ofcom has confirmed criminals have been using internet-based calling technology to make it look like a phone call or text is coming from a real phone number. Almost 45 million consumers were targeted by phone scams. Ofcom expected the measures to be introduced at pace as a priority. So far, one operator has already implemented the new plans, while other phone networks are still exploring methods of making it work.
Very well, let's now see how the numbers seesawed on the stock and foreign exchange before Carren Kibet comes in with the day's sports.
tukiwaza hapa wao tayari washajua. Unajua tunaweza toka hapa tukaenda kule tukaingia kwenye mtego.
Niko na mbona sije kumtafuta babangu.
Maya, kama babako ungekuwa naje naye, ungekuwa amekupigia simu kitambo.
Hatutaki wageni. Na kama nikumwona babako, kaa huko huko.
Na wazimu anaweza kukupoteza. Anaweza kufanya kitu kibaya mpaka ushangae wewe.
Maanisha nini?
Mimi sitaki maneno na wewe. Sina muda na wewe. Sitaki mazungumzo. Aliyekutuma amekudanganya.
Welcome back. I do hope your evening is treating you well. It's now time for us to take a look at what's making headlines in the world of sports. My name is Carren, Kibet. Now, the World Marathon record holder Eliud Kipchoge has been awarded the Best Male Athlete of Tokyo 2020 Olympics at the Association of National Olympic Committees Awards Gala that was held last night in Greece. Kipchoge was awarded for his marathon gold medal at the Tokyo Olympic Games after he successfully defended it.
Eliud Kipchoge successfully defended his gold medal from the Rio Games by winning the gold medal in the men's marathon at the Tokyo Games in a time of 2 hours, 8 minutes and 36 seconds, becoming only the third person to successfully defend their gold medal in the men's marathon. Kipchoge was awarded by the President of Association of National Olympics Committee of Africa, Mustafa Beraf.
So, Mr. Beraf, Mr. Kipchoge, thank you very much.
Win two, it's making history because winning back-to-back is only 3 people have done it, and I'm saying I'm happy to have done that the year 2020 in the Tokyo Olympic Games, the important Olympic Games ever, which actually bring hope to the whole world after the COVID-19 challenge actually crashed the whole world.
The best female athlete at Tokyo 2020 was Canadian Maggie McNeil, while the best female team at Tokyo 2020 award was won by New Zealand rugby team. The awards were organized by ANOC to celebrate the achievements of athletes at the Tokyo Olympic Games. Frederick Muki for Prime Edition.
Moving on, the African 100 meters record holder Ferdinand Omanyala has begun training for the next season, aiming to better his personal best, especially after finishing second in the Kibet Classic Continental Tour held in Nairobi, Kenya last month. Omanyala is among a host of other athletes who are training at the Kasarani National Stadium.
African 100 meters record holder Ferdinand Omanyala, who finished second in the 100 meters race behind United States Trayvon Browell during the 2021 Kibet Classic Continental Tour last month, has commenced his daily training at the Kasarani Stadium. He says his aim is to keep himself fit for next season, especially after the 2021 season ended.
What makes me a good sprinter, I think it's my hard work, discipline. The discipline to wake up every day at 5 or 6 to come to training, and then the commitment and the effort that you put in training. That's what differentiating me from other people.
Omanyala said that athletes should show solidarity as they showed in honor of the slain athlete Agnes Tirop. He also advised fellow athletes to be courteous of doping practices, urging them to work hard and believe in themselves.
I've opened doors, I believe. So many people now are training because they believe it can be possible and you can make a life out of sprinting. So in the next Olympics, I hope and I pray that we'll have more than 5 sprinters on that team, because we need a 4x1 relay team, we need a 4x4 relay team, we need people in 100 and 200 meters.
Omanyala set a new African record of 9.77 seconds in the 100 meters race after finishing second in the Kibet Classic last month here in Nairobi.
anybody in the world, anybody in this country who is watching this, never give up in life. It reaches a point where you feel like you've gotten to the end. You're just looking at blocks ahead. You're just looking at hurdles in your life. So never give up.
Daniel Mwendwa for Prime Edition Sports.
Thank you, Dan, for that report. We definitely wish Ferdinand Omanyala all the best. Now, moving on, Madaraka All-Stars, Bangers FC, Total Disaster FC, and 1-2 TV FC all booked slots to feature in the national finals of the Red Bull Neymar Juniors 5-a-side football tournament after winning their respective knockout matches. The 4 teams will join other already qualified teams: Mombasa, Winners Talent FC, Fire Rangers, Serkal FC, and Shell FC in the national finals that will be held on 30th this month. The winner will book a ticket to feature in the World Final in Qatar. Kenya was represented at the 2019 World Final in Praia Grande, Brazil by Team Gamers FC, who impressed by beating Neymar Junior Global 5 team in their opening match. Still in football, the Ghanaian champions Hearts of Oak are out of the CAF Champions League following an embarrassing 6-1 away defeat to Moroccan giants Wydad Casablanca. Earlier goals from Simon Msuva, Ayeimane El Hassouni, Ashraf Dari, Yaha Jabrane and Ayub El Almoud for the hosts put the game completely out of reach for the visitors. The following are the key highlights of the match.
Anaachia pasi kumtafuta Bwalia. Dali Bwalia. Paka sasa welekeo 1-0. Tatanyana anajaribu kuweka ndani, nafasi nzuri sasa Wendell. Wanachomoa bao hapa vijana wa Jwaneng Galaxy. Narusha mpira ule Wendell. Bao pili. Wendell Rudat, yule ni Mufo, imewekwa cross nzuri, Aisha amecheza mewa 3, bao la 3 kwa Jwaneng Galaxy, ameshavua na jezi yake kabisa.
Will it be the right? No, it will be the left of Lagai. Oh my goodness! Click, bang! I believe Goldfinger was amongst them as Lagai, as the cross-come shot, keeper caught, handle, and Sundowns make it 2. An absolute gift for...
Now, Manchester United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says he won't resign despite his team being beaten 5-0 by Liverpool at Old Trafford on Sunday. The victory was Liverpool's biggest win at Old Trafford in their history. Solskjaer is yet to win a trophy as United boss. Elsewhere, in the Spanish La Liga, Barcelona lost to Real Madrid by 2-1 in the Camp Nou in El Clasico.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had a humiliating day as Manchester United coach when Mohamed Salah's hat-trick steered Liverpool to a shocking 5-0 win over the arch-rivals at Old Trafford.
It's absolutely ridiculous from this Liverpool number.
Meanwhile, Tottenham Hotspurs lost 1-0 against West Ham.
This goes awkwardly.
In the Spanish La Liga, the El Clasico saw Real Madrid win 2-1 against Barcelona. Luis Suarez scored his second-half brace as Atletico Madrid came from 2 goals down to draw 2-2 at home against leaders Real Sociedad. In the French Ligue 1, Paris Saint-Germain were held to a goalless draw away to Marseille. In the Italian Serie A, a late penalty from Paulo Dybala salvaged a point for Juventus against Inter Milan, while Napoli's perfect start to the season came to an end with a goalless draw at Roma.
And to all Manchester fans out there, take heart. United, we still stand. That's all we had for you right here at the KB Sports Desk. Let's do this all over again tomorrow, same time, same place. Do have yourself a peaceful night. My name is Carren Kibet, but I do hand you back to Tom for more. Tom?
Thank you, Carren. Peaceful night. Well done. Well done, thank you. Eliud Kipchoge awarded the Best Male Athlete Award of Tokyo 2020 Olympics. And Colin Sayeko, who is watching from Bondo, agrees. He says, Eliud Kipchoge really deserved it. No human is limited. Proud Kenyan, locked all the way from Bondo. Thank you so much. That's all we had time for. And on behalf of KBC Prime Edition's dedicated team, I want to thank you. My name is Mboya. Let's do this all over again tomorrow. Good night and God bless.
Beauty College. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 22 7428 Thika branch, 0725 000-706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.